but she knew that he was glad to see her, knew it because of the way his eyes never left her face. "You're bigger than I remembered," she said stupidly. "You too," he said. "I also remembered that you were beautiful. Memory does play some trick on us. No, your face is the same, but I don't remember what beautiful means anymore. Come on, let's go out onto the lake." She looked at the small raft with misgivings. "Don't stand up on it, that's all," he said. He got on by crawling spider-like, on toes and fingers. "It's the first thing I built with my own hands, since you and I used to build with blocks. Peter proved buildings." She laughed. They used to take pleasure in building things that would stand up even when a lot of the obvious supports had been removed. Peter, in turn, liked to remove a block here and there, so the structure would be fragile enough that the next person to touch it would knock it down. Peter was an ass, but he did provide some focus to their childhood. "Peter's changed," she said. "Let's not talk about him," said Ender. "All right." She crawled onto the boat, not deftly as Ender. He used a paddle to maneuver them slowly toward the center of the private lake. She noted aloud that he was sun-browned and strong. The strong part comes from bound school. The sun-browning comes from this lake. I spend a lot of time in the water. When I'm swimming, it's like being weightless. I miss being weightless. Also, when I'm here on the lake, the land slopes up in every direction, like living in a bowl. I lived in a bowl for 4 years. So, we're strangers now. Aren't we, Valentine?" "No," she said. She reached out and touched his leg. Then, suddenly, she squeezed his knee, right where he had always been most ticklish. But almost at the same moment, he caught her wrist in his hand. His grip was very strong, even though his hands were small and thin nerves, and his own arms were slender and tight. For a moment he looked dangerous, then he relaxed. "Oh yes," he said. "You used to tickle me." "Not anymore," she said, taking back her hand. "Want to swim?" In answer, she dropped herself over the side of the raft. The water was clear and clean, and there was no chlorine in it. She swam for a while, then returned to the raft and lay on it in the hazy sunlight. A wasp circled her, then landed on the raft beside her head. She knew it was there, and ordinarily would have been afraid of it. But not today. Let it walk on this raft. Let it bake in the sun as I'm doing. Then the raft rocked, and she turned to see Ender calmly, crushing the life out of the wasp with one finger. "These are a nasty breed," Ender said. "They sting you without waiting to be insulted first." He smiled. "I've been learning about preemptive strategies. I'm very good. No one ever beat me. I'm the best soldier they ever had." "Who would expect less?" she said. "You're a Wigan." "Whatever that means," he said. "It means that you are going to make a difference in the world." And she told him what she and Peter were doing. How old is Peter? 14. Already planning to take over the world. He thinks he's Alexander the Great. And why shouldn't he be? Why shouldn't you be too? We can't both be Alexander. Two faces of the same coin, and I'm the metal in between. Even as she said it, she wondered if it was true. She had shared so much with Peter these last few years that even when she thought she despised him, she understood him, while Ender had only been a memory until now. A very small, fragile boy who needed her protection, not this cold-eyed, dark-skinned manly who kills wasps with his fingers. Maybe he and Peter and I are all the same, and have been all along. Maybe we only thought we were different from each other out of jealousy. The trouble with coins is, when one face is up, the other face is down. And right now, I think you're down. They want me to encourage you to go on with your studies. They aren't studies, they're games. All games from beginning to end. Only they change the rules whenever they feel like it. He held up a limp hand. See the strings? But you can use them too. Only if they want to be used. Only if they think they're using you. No, it's too hard. I don't want to play. Just when I start to be happy, just when I think I can handle things, they stick in another night. I keep having nightmares now that I'm here. I dream I'm in the battle, only instead of being weightless, they're playing games with gravity. They keep changing its direction. So I never end up on the wall I launched for. I never end up where I meant to go. And I keep pleading with them just to let me get to the door, and they won't let me out. They keep sucking me back in. She heard the anger in his voice, and assumed it was directed at her. I suppose that's what I'm here for. To suck you back in. I didn't want to see you. I didn't want to see you. They told me. I was afraid that I'd still love you. I hoped that you would. I fear your wish won't grant it. Enter, it really is true. We may be young, but we're not powerless. We play by their rules long enough, and it becomes our game. She giggled. I'm on a presidential commission. Peter is so angry. They don't let me use the nets. There isn't a computer on the place, except the household machine that runs the security system and lighting. Ancient things. Installed back a century ago when they made computers that didn't hook up with anything. They took away my army. They took away my desk, and you know something? I don't really mind. You must be good company for yourself. Not me. My memories. Maybe that's who you are, what you remember. No, my memories of strangers. My memories of the buggers. Valentine shivered, as if a cold breeze had suddenly passed. I refuse to watch the bugger vids anymore. They're always the same. I used to study them for hours. The way their ships move through space, and something funny that only occurred to me lying out here on the lake. I realized that all the battles in which buggers and humans fought hand to hand, all those are from the first invasion. All the scenes from the second invasion, when our soldiers are in IF uniforms, and those scenes the buggers are already dead, lying there, slumped over their controls, not a sign of struggle or anything. And Mazer Racken's battle. They never show us any footage from that battle. Maybe it's a secret weapon. No, I don't care about how we killed them. It's the buggers themselves. I don't know anything about them, and yet someday I'm supposed to fight them. I've been through a lot of fights in my life. Sometimes games, sometimes not games. Every time I won because I could understand the way my enemy thought. From what they did, I could tell what they thought I was doing, how they wanted the battle to take shape, and I played off of that. I'm very good at that, understanding how people think. The curse of the wicked children, she joked, but it frightened her, that Ender might understand her as completely as he did his enemies. Peter always understood her, or at least thought he did, but he was such a born single that she never had to feel embarrassed when he guessed even her worst thoughts. But Ender, she did not want him to understand her. It would make her naked before him. She would be ashamed. You don't think you can beat the buggers unless you know them. It goes deeper than that. Being here alone with nothing to do, I've been thinking about myself too, trying to understand why I hate myself so badly. No, Ender. Don't tell me no, Ender. It took me a long time to realize that I did, but believe me, I did. Do. And it came down to this. In the moment when I truly understand my enemy, understand him well enough to defeat him, then in that very moment, I also love him. I think it's impossible to really understand somebody, what they want and what they believe, and not to love them the way they love themselves. destroy them. I make it impossible for them to ever hurt me again. I grind them and grind them until they don't exist. Of course you don't. And now the fear came again, worse than before. Peter has mellowed, but they've made you into a killer. Two sides of the same coin, but which side is which? I've really hurt some people, Val. I'm not making this up. I know, Winter. How you hurt me. See what I'm becoming, Val, he said softly. Even you were afraid of me. And he touched her cheek so gently that she wanted to cry, like the touch of his baby soft hand when he was still an infant. She remembered that, the touch of his soft, innocent hand on her cheek. I'm not, she said, and in that moment it was true. You should be. No, I shouldn't. You're going to shrivel up if you stay in the water. Also, the sharks might kill you. He smiled. The sharks learned to leave me alone a long time ago. But he pulled himself onto the raft, bringing a splash of water across as it did. It was cold on Valentine's back. Enter. Peter's going to do it. He's smart enough to take the time it takes. But he's going to win his way into power. If not now, then later. I'm not sure yet whether that'll be a good thing or a bad thing. Peter can be cruel, but he knows the getting and keeping of power. And there are signs that once the Bunker War is over, and maybe even before it ends, the world will collapse into chaos again. The Russian Empire was on its way to hegemony before the first invasion. If they try for it afterward, so even Peter might be a better alternative. You've been discovering some of the destroyer in yourself, Ender. Well, so have I. Peter didn't have a monopoly on that, whatever the testers thought, and Peter has the builder in him. He isn't kind, but he doesn't break every good thing he sees anymore. Once you realize that power will always end up with the sort of people who crave it, I think there are worse people who could have it than Peter. With that strong recommendation, I could vote for him myself. Sometimes it seems absolutely silly. A 14-year-old boy is getting his sister blind to take over the world. She tried to laugh. It wasn't funny. We are just ordinary children, aren't we? None of us. Don't you sometimes wish we were? She tried to imagine herself being like the other girls at school. Tried to imagine a life if she didn't feel responsible for the future of the world. It would be so dull. I don't think so. And he stretched out on the raft as if he could lie in the water forever. It was true. Whatever they did to enter the battle school, they had spent his ambition. He really did not want to leave the sun-warmed waters of this bowl. No, she realized. No, he believes that he doesn't want to leave here, but there is still too much of Peter in him. Or too much of me. None of us could be happy for long doing nothing. Or perhaps it's just that none of us could be happy living with no other company than ourselves. So she began to prod again. What is the one name that everyone in the world knows? Mazer. Rackham. And what if you win the next war the way Mazer did? Mazer Rackham was a fluke, a reserve. Nobody believed in him. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But suppose you do it.